Facebook, good afternoon. Hello guys, how you doing? It's a beautiful Monday afternoon. Just waiting on some of you to jump on and join me here before I start this Facebook Live. So I've got a client in a few minutes time. I thought I'd jump on here and have a chat. My diary for the most part today empty because I had court today. Hey Facebook, how you all doing? Hey Dean, how you doing? Hey, nice to see you. Good afternoon. Hi Audria, how you doing? Hi Sanya. So I've just come back from court and I don't know, God's amazing. His love is amazing. Court ended at about 11 o'clock and I was sitting with my ex-husband having coffee for about an hour and a half today. 2 years ago, you tell me that would have happened and I probably couldn't see it, but we had coffee today. We had a nice long chat, just us. You should see me spooning cream out of on my spoon over coffee with him sat there drooling over he's confused as to whether I'm his ex-wife or I'm his wife, and it was a joke. But that's another conversation, because that conversation left me confused. But that's life, that's God. I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm going to talk about what I jumped on here to talk about. I'm talking about a lot of us who are leaving our lottery tickets unclaimed. Let me just go back to my ex-husband and I. Because today I introduced him to somebody. I said my husband, and I just got confused myself. Only because she knew us as married. We sat across from each other. And what I walked away from that conversation with is the fact that when you're in the heat of the moment, you must just pause without reacting. Don't act. Hi, Rose. And he sat there and he said he acted. He's sorry. And he's sorry. He was trying to tell me how sorry he was and how he acted out of anger and in the moment, and now he regrets it. But what I want you to take away from that is that when you're angry, you must just pause sometime and just think, because what he's done, he's thrown away. I told him, I said, you've thrown our family away. You've thrown our family away. Marriages and relationships, all kinds of relationships, not just horizontal relationship, not just vertical relationship. All of them had problems. And for my ex-husband, my husband, whatever, I don't know what he is right now, to sit there and tell me today that he's sorry. We're in court. And guys, don't laugh, because my lawyer and I had a good chat about, and I wanted to cry right now. My ex-husband wore a jumper I bought him to court today. And I said, oh, you're wearing a jumper I bought you? And he said, yes, because I know I was going to see you today. And the jumper, I bought him this jumper like 4 years ago, and the jumper looked brand new, and he said, I know I was gonna see you, so I wore that jumper because you bought it for me. And I invited him to coffee, and we went to coffee and we sat down for an hour and a half and we talked, and we laughed and we talked, and he cried and we talked. And my lawyer said to me today, Ava, that's God, because it's been 2 years. We've been in court for 2 whole years. And today was the first time we sat down to have a conversation, just us. And we spent an hour and a half together talking. But don't act when you're in a hurry, because what he's admitted today is that he acted in a hurry. He listened to everybody else. And when you're in a marriage, sometimes it's not the marriage that is the problem. It's the weeds that's around the marriage and the relationship. Sometimes it's all the other people who are around you that are the problem. All the other people that are around you, the family, the friends, the people who are giving you bad advice. And that's what my ex-husband admitted today, that he listened to everybody else. That everybody else was giving him advice. But I'm not going to talk about my marriage and my life right now. We just came back from court, and it's life. What I saw was a man who was in love with his wife and is confused that he let something that good go, and he's come to his senses. And part of me feel really sorry for him. Part of me feel very sad for him. But part of me remembers what he's done. And then I was talking to a friend a while ago, and she's like, Ava, about forgiveness. And I think, yeah, you can forgive somebody. It doesn't mean you have to end up back in bed with them, but that's life. Let's move on. I want to talk about the fact that you have unclaimed lottery tickets. And if I sound a little bit confused right now, I have a lot of things going through my brain. So I need to shift from the whole marriage thing and talk about what I want to talk about. So some of you are leaving lottery tickets in the backyard. So let me tell you the story. You probably have heard of the story of this family who had a nice house in what they considered a bad neighborhood. Hi, Tina. Hi, everybody. And the man said, you know what, our lives are not progressing. If we could just buy a house in a nicer neighborhood, then I know that everything will be okay. And so he sold his house, he packed up his house, he bought a house in a nice new neighborhood, and he moved out because in his mind, it was where he lived that was the problem. It was not him, it was not the house. It was not him. It was not anything. It was not that he was not maximizing what he had. Hi, Tracy. It was that, hi, Afra. See you in a few minutes. It was that the house he was living in was just in the bad neighborhood, in the wrong neighborhood. So he packed up his family and the one thing he had, which was his very nice house, and he moved out of his house into a new neighborhood. He bought a nice house in a new, nice neighborhood. And the new people who moved into his new neighborhood, the man was a gardener, so he went into the back garden, and of course he bought the house, so it is his house now. And he started digging in the back garden to plant up the garden because the previous owner had deserted the house so badly that he hadn't even done the garden. And while this new owner was digging in the back garden, he found gold. I want you to hear that. The previous man moved from the neighborhood because he felt the neighborhood was bad for him. The new owners were in the back garden digging to plant up his garden because he was going to cherish what he had. He was going to acknowledge that this is what he had. He was going to love it, care for it, and nurture it. And while digging, he, the new neighbor, only been in the house for a week, found gold in the back garden. And so what am I saying? And you might have heard this story before. It's one of those stories that's told by a lot of motivational speakers. Why am I sharing this story with you? I'm sharing this story with you because sometimes it's not the job that's the problem. It's the fact that you haven't applied yourself enough to that job. Sometimes it's not the relationship that's the problem. It's the fact that you have not applied yourself properly to the relationship. Sometimes it's the fact that you have potential within yourself and you think that you need to go and look for it somewhere else because you have not yet gone to your own back garden and dug up the back garden to see what's there. Sometimes you have so much within you that everything you need, the richness, the gold, the relationship, the marriage, the children, the family, the love, the guidance, everything you need is there, but you have not stopped to go into your back garden and dig up what you have. And as we come to a close for this year, and we're coming to a close, a lot of us are complaining and we're blaming everything else. We're blaming our neighborhoods. We're blaming our friends. My husband was blaming his friends today for encouraging him to take me to court. My husband sat down today and told me that he's sorry, that it was not his fault, that people forced him to take me to court, and that he made a mistake because he never stopped to see the potential in me he has as a wife. That he never looked at our family, that he never looked at our 5-year-old son who was at the time 3 years old. He never looked in his back garden. He never looked at myself. He never looked at my face properly. He never saw my potential. And in the same way my ex-husband never saw that he was married to Diamond, a lot of us have Diamond in our jobs, in our houses, in our potential, in our neighborhood, in our relationships, in the friends and the family we have, and we do not see that potential because we are not looking in our back garden. And as the year comes to a close, do you see how pretty I made sure I looked today when I was going to court? Because I wanted him to see what he's missing. I'm naughty like that. But he didn't see what he had in his back garden. He didn't see my potential. He didn't see the greatness. He didn't see where I was going. And sometimes we are short-sighted like that man who gave up his house and bought the neighborhood was his problem. As our year comes to a close, I want you to pause and start looking for your lottery that you need. Sometimes you have applied yourself. Sometimes you've not given yourself, you have not in that relationship. Sometimes it's not the business, you've not applied yourself. Sometimes it's not your business partner that's the problem. It is you who have not applied yourself. You need to find the gap. Where is your gap? There is a gap. So listen to me carefully. If you ever think about it properly and assess all of your things that you've done this year, What is it that you haven't applied yourselves to properly? What is it that you didn't think through properly? What is it that you didn't give 100%, 120%, as E.T. would say? There's something in your life that you haven't given your full, your best, your all. And that's the gap. That's the gap. The gap is that we can never self-actualize until we give it 120%, because 100 is not enough. And you have a lottery ticket that you have unclaimed. It's in your back garden. It's in your job. It's in your business. It's in your relationship. It's in your marriage, in your friendship. But you have not gone to the back garden to dig up that back garden to find out what's within there. I want to take this on today because I'm very reflective today myself. And I want you to reflect on your relationships, all kinds of relationships that are vertical and horizontal. And ask yourself, am I applying myself enough? Am I missing out on my winnings? Am I giving 120%? Did you give 120% at work this year? You're complaining about wanting to be self-employed. But in the job that God has blessed you with, are you giving yourself all? Are you giving your boss everything? Are you giving your job all of you? Are you robbing your job? Are you robbing your boss? Are you collecting that paycheck every month, but you're not putting in your all? I want to ask you that about your friendships. Are you giving your friendships enough? I know I'm guilty, and I've become busy, and some of my friends feel neglected, and I have to be readjusting that because I don't want to grow and leave the people behind me who were there for me when I never had anything. So I want us to self-assess. I want you to do a self-evaluation form. I want you to self-assess. And that's what I sat down with my ex-husband to do today. We were self-assessing our marriage, our family, our relationship. But I want you to sound, really? Hear me now, virus? I want you guys to assess and ask yourself a question. What could you have done differently in your life? What do you have added value to this year that you've never been doing? And stop him. Okay? And so I'm going to leave you with this. Like the man who sold his house to go and buy a house in a new neighborhood, believing that he will get better. Stop looking out for what you need. Everything you have is within you. I told that to my husband today. I said to him, every marriage has problems. Ours was never perfect, but it had possibilities. And I'm telling you this right now, every situation you have has possibility if you go digging into your back garden to find out what's buried inside. Stop looking outside for everything you need. Because everything you need is within you. Everything you need is within yourself. Everything you need, you have already got. And as I leave you, I want to say to you that don't go into 2017 looking for everything you need from everybody else and every other situation. Because everything you need is within you. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to go. I've got a client now. But I'll see you guys later. All right? Have a good day. Bye-bye.